The city of Chicago is the third largest city in the United States, and just about 45 minutes to the southwest is Joliet, Illinois, and it's a host of a couple different racing complexes. Of course, Autobahn Country Club, where Grid Life hosts an event once a year, but nearby is Chicagoland Speedway, built in 2001, and it's put on some great racing moments over those years, including one of the closest IndyCar finishes in history in the famous Kyle on Kyle battle in 2018. Tonight, it might be the third most important round remaining left in the regular season, with the second most being next week and the first most being Texas and Talladega right after that, of equal importance heading into our 5 playoff rounds. Welcome to Chicagoland Speedway and Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Connor Horn tonight. Connor, welcome aboard. This is going to be a fun racetrack, 1.5 mile, low grip, daytime race, lots of slipping and sliding around, tire wear. It should be a lot of fun.
I think it will be a lot of fun. The 2 races we've done here in the Pro Series have been a lot of fun. Last season, it was the finale. You had Travis Beckner lead a bunch of laps, looked in contention for that championship until everything that can happen usually will happen. And usually we end with some drama at this track, but usually it's a pretty clean and green race because there's a lot of it's a very wide track. You got a lot of grooves to choose from, so that should be the focal point of this race tonight. All the grooves being used like we saw on Monday and Tuesday. I think passing will be a little easier, but you still want to start up at the front, and you still need to get a lot of points. There's a lot of guys right around the cut line and even above and below the cut line that are nowhere near safe with 4 races to go, including tonight.
Well, even Travis Beckner as well had a good week last week at Montreal, got the job done there, but he's only +1 to the cutoff line, even with 3 wins on the season, and it's literally either checkers or wreckers for him. Kyle, you mentioned it last week. He hasn't finished outside the top 20 3 times this season, and those 3 times were winning. So it's literally checkers or wreckers for Beckner. Also looking at some guys still looking to get their first win on the season, like Braxton DeWeese. He's 3rd in points, and he's run so good, yet so far away from getting that win. Shane Terrian, Zach Carr, top 5 in points. Feel like we're due for a new winner tonight.
Yeah, I think there's a lot on the line tonight. New winner potentially. This race distance about 130 laps, and of course tonight we're going to see probably something similar to what we saw on Tuesday, Connor. More tire wear than Monday night, so we will probably get some longer green flag runs. I don't think we're going to see quite the pack racing that we saw the first 2 nights of the week, though, and that will change the whole dynamic of this race.
I think it will for sure, and we saw it really not get spread out until like 20-30 laps in the run for the Truck Series, and really only got that one long run on Tuesday night. So I'm thinking tonight will be different. You'll see drivers get spread out much earlier than we did Tuesday. Now, as you look at the practice results, point leader Jake Nichols on top. Connor O'Kresick, he's right on the cut line in second. Obviously, Travis Beckner, he's always fast. McKinney, Hartz, Matt Kemp, who could be a playoff spoiler, not running the full season. Weaver, Falliker, Zach Nichols, Zach Carr right down the top 10. There's a lot of fast drivers. Only about 1/10 of a second separating the top 10. So qualifying is going to be pretty important for track position when everyone's all bunched up on one another. And I am anticipating to be pretty spread out, as you can see even outside the top 10. It's only 2/10 to 18th place, which is DeWeese. So this should be a pretty interesting qualifying session.
Yeah, last year the winner from the race won the pole. That was Connor Yuroshek, and the only other time he ran here, David Weishart won from the 4th position. So kind of similar to Monday night, Kyle. You want to start inside the top 2 rows. Got a pretty good shot at that if you're looking for getting the win. Also, cautions. We have some late yellows here. Well, somewhat late yellows. 24 to go in season 4. Then last season, the last yellow came out with 17 laps to go. So anything can happen, and want to make sure you get everything timed right on pit road. Don't want to overslide your pit box. Don't want to speed, especially under green flag conditions, Kyle. We've seen a lot of mistakes happen on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, you could avoid mistakes in the first parts of the season, but you just can't anymore. Don't make a mistake by not subscribing to the area Twitch. That's twitch.tv/area iRacing. Make sure that you subscribe and earn those area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Free merchandise, double channel points, $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/area iRacing. So when we head to the 1.5 mile racetrack, the point I brought up on Monday and Tuesday about why it's so important to run well here, Connor, is because while they are a little different, Kansas is the penultimate race of the season, and Atlanta is another 1.5 mile racetrack that's on the horizon. So when you look at those important races in the playoffs, I think there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn between those two. Kansas is sort of a sister track of sorts to Chicagoland, even though they have their own unique traits.
Yeah, and Kansas is a lot smoother. Probably won't race as similarly. Probably won't have as much tire fall off as here at Chicagoland. But Atlanta may be a little more comparable with the tire fall off, but not really the same track at all. It's still a little bit unique, but I think it is gonna be very important to run well here so you can be ready for those final 2 races. We saw on Tuesday night, Sebastian Marin got his 5th win of the Truck Series season. He's been good everywhere, but he really proved how fast he was on the 1.5 miles, like John Hall, Jake Matheson, Jake Nichols. All the guys who are usually at the front were at the front there. Same thing for Monday night as well. You had Kurhan climb through the field. You had, obviously, Seth Knoll with his 5th win of the season up there pretty much the entire race. So this is an important race. If you don't run well at the cookie cutter type tracks, you're probably not going to do that much in the playoffs. So you got to really have a strong run and be kind of accustomed to tracks like this.
Yeah, this one's really got its own characteristic, Connor. As we're looking through, well, Blaze McKinney was going down the backstretch. It's a curved backstretch, not exactly a straightaway, but...
Not back straight, it's backstretch.
Yeah. Curve, and then the safer barrier kind of sticks out on both ends of the racetrack, so we won't see it here, but getting into turn 1, some guys like to run the high groove. You don't want to clip the entry of the safer barrier that begins going into turn 1. And then almost as a optical illusion, at least from my part, my perspective, the backstretch wall, we'll see, well, we won't see it here, but backstretch wall, there's that brand signage that begins towards turn 2. Some guys kind of drift up towards that and clip the outside wall before heading down the backstretch. Connor, is that like is that just guys carrying too much speed and trying to get as wide as they can through the corner, or just the signage come up and just almost blinds them from where the wall actually begins?
I think it's just trying to get too much on exit. The safer barrier kind of juts out. You don't really have one down the back straightaway, so you're trying to carry all your speed as close to that outside wall as possible, but you can clip the end of that safer barrier in the corner if you're not careful, and that's usually an issue in qualifying. Not so much in the race. I don't think it comes up as much, but we have seen, I think Ryan Hartz in Season 4 had the lead, hit the wall out of 2, lost that one to Weishart because of that wall tap. But I think it's more of an issue in qualifying because you're trying to get such a fast lap and you're really having to use up all the racetrack to get that fast lap in. So we'll see if anyone slaps it now, but looks like Philip Groner has a good lap going on. New York Jets paint scheme. McKinney still on pole, right to Weiss, Theory and Bourne the top 5, and that 11 had a pretty good line through turns 3 and 4.
I was going to say touchdown, but it's 5th.
Oof. Ryan Hartz starting his lap. Hey, there's a familiar livery again. I think this is his throwback still. Ooh, slide out of turn 2 and into the grass, and this is going to hurt. Bam, into the wall. And
the end of that wall.
That sort of brings up a trouble point, Connor. We talk about Chicagoland Speedway and its kind of quirks and features, as Doug DeMuro might say. And I think, for me, it seems like we typically see accidents out of turn 2 here, but turn 4, I think it was Tuesday, turn 4 was really the trouble spot.
Yeah, because we talked about it Tuesday a little bit. The bottom in 3 and 4, it's easy to hit the apron. We saw a lot of incidents caused by hitting the apron on the bottom of 1 and 2, and you just saw some drivers just get flat loose out of turns 3 and 4. There's a lot more bumps at that end of a racetrack than there are in turns 1 and 2. I think that caused a decent amount of incidents as well. We also just saw a lot of contact in turn 4 throughout the race as well, so we'll see if any of that comes into play tonight as Bryce Senesac, with Casey Kane watching in the background, comes across 17th. He'll fall back to 18th as James Scioli puts a fast lap down. That's going to be good enough for 7th position for the driver of the number 7. And Zach Nichols is now on provisional pole. Just Nana Sogak across the line. Looks like he got through 3 and 4 well. It's 14th.
Yeah, the Nichols brothers from different mothers are currently sitting in the top 2 on the podium, well, leaderboard with about 10 seconds remaining. Beckner gets his time in, 16th quickest. Going to have some work to make up, but yeah, so looks like Zach Nichols going to get pole maybe. Cedric Hunter, he's not going to have enough time to finish the lap.
And that's it. Qualifying complete, and about 6 drivers did not get a time. Only 2 of them didn't attempt. Rafe Slate and Ryan Swan were those 2. Jay Rebes says, I miss M&M's and the number 18, and I'll tell you what, as a Kyle Busch fan, don't we all? What simpler times it was for the Kyle Busch world. But anyway, we've got warm-up here for a couple of minutes, and so we'll tell you about our starting grid sponsor, which is coming up here pretty shortly because they're going to take us through our lineup, but that is Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. So, championship picture. You know, we're reminded that this is round 9 of the championship because of the schedule shift. We have 4 rounds until the playoffs. We've got this round, Rockingham, Texas, which is the replacement round, and Talladega. So, Connor, we're not quite on the cusp as close as we are in the Cup and Truck Series here, but it feels important to start. If you're not in that cut line now, you should really be stringing some good finishes together so you're not desperate come Talladega.
Yeah, most drivers aren't desperate even at all at this point because Justin Munzel's 20th in points. He's only 22 points back, and in 4 races, that can flip pretty easily. So you're definitely not in panic mode quite yet if you're below that cut line and inside the top 20, but you really got to start getting going, get some good runs in. That round at Texas is going to be interesting for all these Pro Series drivers having to kind of forego an off week and get some points at a track that they were supposed to run months back. So that'll be interesting when we get there, but there's still so many players involved in this cut line battle. We still have plenty of opportunity for new winners. Don't even get me started on Talladega. The only drivers who are really even safe on points are DeWeese and Therian, and 50 points, Hunter, that can go away in 4 weeks very easily. So really no one's safe besides the drivers at the top of the standings with wins like Nichols and Groner, because even Beckner and Scioli with their wins aren't quite safe yet.
Yeah, that gap could go away in just 2 weeks with back-to-back DNFs. That could lead you to falling from, 3rd, 4th, 5th in the standings all the way down to 15th, 16th. And that's if other guys don't have issues as well and they just are able to capitalize. But, yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how Beckner gets through. Going to be starting 16th, mid-pack about. 3 wins on the year, Kyle, and those were the only times he finished inside the top 10. Other than that, he's been checkers or wreckers. So he needs to have a good race, keep a clean car, and just really for the rest of the regular season. English is tough sometimes. And then to look at guys outside the top 20 that are looking to make their way back in. Jeff Wright missed last week. He's going to need to. Is he in tonight?
Yes.
Okay, he's going to need to have a solid race to bounce back inside the top 20, just in case he's eligible for getting a win. And even Brody Falker, Casey Lakatos, guys are close to the top 20. They get a win, Kyle. They're locked in as long as they stay inside that top 20 in points.
Yeah, I think going back to Travis Beckner, though, I think it's worth conversating a little bit more about that because, you know, has been checkers or wreckers all year, Connor, and that will only work to a point. You know, you might be able to scrape into the playoffs. Once you get there, it is about consistency, at least for the first couple of rounds. I don't think you can checker or wreck your way through to a championship, so Beckner's really got to find some consistency. He starts 16th in this race. I think some of this starts with the qualifying effort, which is the single lap pace. We know Travis is good in race conditions, but I think there is some more work to be done on the front half of the week to prep and make sure that he is set for the race, Connor.
And it's not like he doesn't have the speed. He has the speed to win week in, week out. But it's a matter of if you're not going to win the race, you need to get the finishes, and you got to be stable and just got to be okay with finishing 5th to 10th once in a while. That just hasn't been the case. He finished 24th at Darlington, where he wrecked out of the top 5. Dover, he was wrecked in probably the big one we had on the front stretch. Pocono was a mess. Daytona's Daytona. So really those races, you can't really blame him much for those. I think he only missed 1 race. Can't really blame him much for those. But Darlington is the prime example. You just need to be okay with not getting the race victory sometimes, and you just got to make sure to get the finishes to not be in this situation. Just ask Ryan Newman in 02 or 03 or Casey Kane in 06. Consistency goes a long way.
Central Mobile Homes starting lineup here. Let's roll through it, kicking things off on the front row. Qualifying first, it is the Nichols and Nichols show. Zach Nichols on pole. Jake Nichols in the 73 starts alongside him, Connor.
Then 3rd position will go to the 43 of Matthew Bell, and then actually Zach Nichols is going to the rear as well. So Matthew Bell might be the control car. It might be Nichols. We'll see. But Bell's going to the rear. No, Nichols is going to the rear. Bell is not. Blaze McKinney starts 4th.
I'm just catching myself up on the EOLs. You're right about Nichols in the 44 heading back there. All right, row 3, Alex Bell in the number 15. He'll start 5th place. Jeff Wright alongside him in 6th place in the number 48 Chevrolet.
McKinney's going to the rear as well, so 1st and 4th. 7th position, James Scioli into number 7. He'll actually start there. Connor Okrezik, he's right on the cut line. He starts 8th.
And 9th place is Braxton DeWeese in the number 13 inside of row 5. Shane Therian in the number 9 starts in 10th place.
11th position goes to the 33 of David Weishart, one of the 2 former winners here in Chicagoland. John Furness trying to get a win here. He starts 12th.
13th place, Philip Groner in the number 11, and Justin Anasogak in the 88 will start alongside him in 14th.
15th place, always a staple this series, the Toyota Supra of Tom Bourne, and then Travis Beckner, not the best qualifying effort. We'll see if he can climb up from 16th position.
17th place, Ed Robertson in the number 64 car, and 18th place, Greg Mitchell in the number 2.
19th place goes to the 29 of Alex Weaver, and then the 20th position, the 4 car of Cameron Hurd, who also has an EOL penalty.
Brody Paliker rolls off 21st place. Colin Fambro in the number 18 starts on the outside of row 11 in 22nd.
23rd position is 09, bright green Bryce Senesac. He'll be alongside the bright red Toyota Supra, all the Coca-Cola colors for Joey Chapman.
Justin Munsell starts in 25th spot in the number 6 machine. Jeremy Miller in the number 30 rolls off 26th.
That's a spicy row. Alex Bryson will start in a 27th position, going to the rear himself. Brad Slaughter Jr., I believe he might have won here at Trucks, but he was fast last season at least. He starts 28th, though, tonight.
EOL for the 8 as well. 29th, Casey Lakatos in the number 50, and Bronson Stafford in the 61 will start in 30th place.
31st position, Garrett Grant, who had a great run on Monday, did not have the same luck on Tuesday, as we're not getting the green flag here. He'll wave it because
I don't understand why they hold the... I mean,
he's having
this
fun.
animation is really dumb. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, either way. He'll wave it next time, but don't worry. Grant 31st, Matt Kemp 32nd.
33rd place, Ryan Hart's in the number 54, and 34th, Zach Carr in the 97 machine.
He did not get a time down, neither did Cedric Hunter. He starts in the 35th position. Rafe Slate in the 98 starts in the 36th position.
And Ryan Swan will bring out the rear of the field. Ryan Swan did not join the grid, though, so we're back up to who was your pole sitter. He's at the tail of the field here. Let's pick some winners. We don't have championship standings, but I will give Hunter and Connor the pleasure of picking first. Hunter, who you got?
Ooh, I'll take the guy on the outside, Jake Nichols.
Oh, man, that's a pick of picks. Connor, who's next?
I like the 28. I like John Furness.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the number 7. I think Scioli gets it done tonight. I think he's going to charge forward, and he's got some momentum on his side, obviously finishing second at Montreal last week. It's been every other race he's had a decent result, but I think he's going to string 2 of them together here tonight in Joliet, Illinois. This is about 45 minutes southwest of where I am right now. I was just passing it last weekend by at Grid Life Chicagoland at Autobahn Country Club. Tonight, though, we race on the oval for 130 laps. Round 9 of the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series is underway. Tense moments on the opening laps as everyone tries to find room to race. Jake Nichols is going to lead the first one. Jeff Wright in the 48 up to second place on the start, and he took a swing at the 73 into turn 1.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to get him loose. He just gave him a bump draft and got the 73 loosened up. Almost put him in the wall accidentally.
Crash!
A huge wreck.
Upside down.
Unbelievable wreck on lap 2.
That was
Blake's
terrific.
in there. Justin Munsell's in there. Fambro.
Wow, ugly. That was about the worst. I mean, I can't even believe it's still rolling at this stage.
Yeah, that's something. That is so crooked and bent. Hendry County Motorsports Park instant replay gets a early showing here.
Yeah, and he was just kind of washing up the hill here. Might have been, oh, well, no. Does the 18 come down? Oh, he gets loose.
Oh.
He gets loose, turns down, and just hooks the 30. And, the 61 underneath him on the windshield knocks the 30 up skyward there.
Stafford might have gotten away with it, too. Bronson Stafford. But, yeah, 18 just got sideways. It's easy to do on cold tires. Jeremy Miller, nothing he could do. Munsell, huge hit. Joey Chapman, I saw, got a big piece of it. He's almost certainly going to be done. Somehow there's not more involved, but you'll see right here, Hunter. Maybe got on that seam, just lost it.
Frightening pictures here at Chicagoland. Down the backstretch, just cars scattering everywhere after Jeremy Miller takes a tumble. Lap 2, Kyle. Not what these guys wanted to see.
No, and here's Bronson Stafford's on board. This is going to be quite the view. Just happened so fast. He really did get lucky, didn't he? And when things
I don't
happen,
think he has damage.
when things happen so fast like that, it's hard for the sim to keep up. So sometimes you just get away with one.
That's a moment where you're like, oh, maybe I won't upgrade my internet. You know, we don't need this. But yeah, I think Fambro gets his right sides on the seam and it loosens him up. But yeah, Miller, nothing he can do. Munsell, the 60, they are all just innocent bystanders of a racing deal there. And I don't know if that 30 will roll again, but he somehow got it back to pit lane, so that's going to take out a bunch of drivers. You can see Munsell so close to making it too, but Fambro didn't really catch it even after he hit the 30, and he gets right hooked into the wall accidentally, right into that Brandt branding.
Cars morphing through each other. Not the brightest moment of internet connectivity there, is it, for anybody? But
Matt Kemp will take it.
Yep, and the drivers that snuck through will take it, but that's 4 drivers that are likely completely done. Joey Chapman is also, doesn't look that torn up, but he's been on pit lane for as long as the others.
I did see the engine smoking. Maybe not much cosmetic damage, but that engine's toast, you're toast. Has quickly won the green. iRacing cleanup crew doing wonders.
Hunter, thoughts on the second lap crash? That was a big one.
Yeah, that was a. I'm still trying to process that, honestly. I mean, that was just unbelievable to have that. I don't think we've had a yellow that early in the Chicagoland race to begin with. Yeah, big hits for Justin Munsell. It's not going to help him in the points as well as Jeremy Miller, Colin Fambro. See how these guys regroup and refocus. And pretty sure guys that had EOLs that were starting around that part of the racetrack, probably glad that they had EOLs because they would have been right in the middle of that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who had EOLs got involved, so I think they'll take that. That 30 car is rolling, by the way. I don't understand that, but whatever. But yeah, gonna be hit, like Hunter said, big hits from Munsell and Miller. Miller was 16 back, Munsell was 22 back, and Fambro, Chapman were further back from the picture, so not what they needed.
Really not. I mean, there's still races left, but it's going to take a lot of effort to undo those sins. So we've had a little bit of a stoppage in the first couple laps of this race from a loose moment in turn 2, Calamity Corner so far. Jake Nichols and Jeff Wright bring us to the first restart of the night, lap number 6.
I'm sure Jeff Wright wished it went green because he was right on Jake Nichols' bumper there. And I'm sure Matthew Bell wished he had a better initial start because he's almost back to the 5th position after starting inside row. Jeff Wright almost hit the outside wall. It puts Conor Kresick into the 2nd position. Wright in the 43 had some contact there. And Alex Bell, teammate to the 48 on the bottom, looking for a top 3 position.
Oh, there
man.
He got the apron. He got the apron, almost slid up into the 48.
Trouble, turn 4.
Oh!
Garrett Grant's hard in the wall. They're going to take a Brad Slot. We will get one here. There it is. And just like that, we're back under yellow again. And that 5, I mean, these are big. These are race enders, too. It's not like these are little spins. This is game over, dead cars. And I saw this in the back formulating here. We're 4 wide ahead of this.
You can see Slaughter, see Grant a little high over those bumps. And he, same thing as Fambro, just lost it. And Slaughter just couldn't check up in time.
Wow, look
Whoa,
at this
Cedric Hunter.
Cedric Hunter. Great avoidance there.
The 30s crab walking. Wow.
Goodness.
Now, I don't know if we can go back and look at it, but the 38 of Shane Therian, he had a major moment coming out of turn 4.
Well, let us go back and see.
Or was that him? Oh, no, it's not him. Sorry. It's the green car up front. Not sure who that was.
Maybe?
Senate. No,
it's the green and white. That's the 87.
Kenny?
No, not McKinney. It was
Robertson?
It was inside the top 5.
Oh, Alex Bell.
Alex Bell. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was Therian. I guess he ran that scheme a while back, but he had a big moment in turn 4 where he clipped that apron, almost got into was it Jeff Wright in the 48?
Was it this lap?
Yeah.
It is close here. I don't know if they actually made contact, but you can see we were talking about this. It's not an even white line, and Yeah, he just barely missed right. But the bottom line in 3 and 4, that white line's not even, so it's pretty easy to hit the apron.
So, under caution for the second time today. And Connor, what is up with the trend so far of like the race-ending collision? We didn't see really this happen at all on Monday or Tuesday. They were more innocuous spins.
Yeah, we really didn't see that. We've already seen bigger hits than we saw on any other race this week, and it's not really accustomed to what we usually see from Chicagoland. We average 4 to 5 yellows in the 2 races we've had, but this is really different. So, and it's kind of odd because it is later during the day. It's not a noon race where the track temp's jacked up to 140 degrees. It's relatively cool, but I think maybe that might also could be causing what we're seeing, and seeing people really getting sideways. Too much grip in these tires, too much grip on the racetrack, and a lot of really bumpy racetrack might be the reason we're seeing drivers get incredibly sideways. I mean, that's twice right there in the middle of turns 2 and 4 where drivers just lost it.
Yeah, compared to other mile-and-a-halfs, this one is probably the most bumpy. You mentioned Kansas is a bit smoother. This one's got a lot of character to it. Hasn't had a repave since 2001, whereas Kansas, back in 2012, it had a repave. But yeah, a lot of bouncing going on, and especially the seams in the corner. It seems where, well, pun not intended, where guys are having troubles with at least this early in the going.
Cars working their way around at the moment behind the Ford Mustang pace car, and Jake Nichols off to a strong start. Connor O'Kresick in the 14 rides in behind Jeff Wright. He's had a pretty strong start to this race, and O'Kresick's a name that we haven't really talked about a lot this year, I feel. He's 11th in the championship standings, and an okay season. He had, what, 4 straight top 10s, 9th, 4th, 9th, 4th, from Pocono all the way to North Wilkesboro, but he's also had some disasters as of late, including Darlington and Montreal.
In Montreal, just a road course wasn't for him, and Darlington, he wrecked out, I think, pretty, I don't know if it was early, but he was one of the few drivers that didn't finish that race, so definitely he's kind of faltered late, but he's still in a position where he can point his way in, and runs like this are how he's going to do it. 1 point above that cut line over Blaze McKinney, while McKinney is a little further back in the field in 22nd, so if that 87 can't get closer, or even Weaver 2 back, Furness 5 back, if those drivers can't have better runs, he could be in a good spot here, no doubt about it.
Well, I'm looking at guys 29th on back. I'm not sure if Anasogak had any damage involved. I guess he just took maybe a splash and go. Cedric Hunter as well. But Braslar's the only one that's out of this race. Jeremy Miller somehow still crab walking. Not sure how it's going to be on the long run, but he's still going at, is he still in the lead lap, or is he 1 lap down?
He just did get the lucky dog.
Oh, wow.
Surprised he didn't go a lap down just to repair it.
So coming to the restart this time by, and Brad Slaughter Jr. is definitely out, so he'll add to the list. 5 out of the 36 that started this race. Jeremy Miller, I just don't see this lasting the night. No way.
Are we at Talladega?
That's even extreme for Talladega.
That's like our car at Talladega.
Yeah, it is,
I mean,
actually.
what does the steering wheel do?
It's like upside down. I'm sure he's not having fun. I hope his force feedback isn't too heavy.
Oh my gosh, look, that's on straightaway. Look at how hard he's turning to the left.
I don't see this lasting very long, to be honest, but
See if he hits minimum, I suppose.
we will see. So 2 cautions, big ones, to start the day here at Chicagoland Speedway. Jake Nichols, Connor O'Kresick, Jeff Wright, Matthew Bell, John Furness, your top 5. So the checkup on the inside lane, but we're back underway again at Chicagoland.
There's been one thing that's hindered Jeff Wright this season. It's restarts. And he's not had a good one again there. He might fall back to 4th. They're 3 wide for 4th. Alex Bell jumped up to the outside of Matthew Bell. It's a Central United sandwich.
A lot of bells in the mix for the top 5 here. And Alex being on the outside, Matthew in the middle. And he's still got company there behind him. I think that's Travis Beckner right behind Alex Bell in the Mountain Dew car. looking to get that outside lane rolling and give him a shove down this front stretch.
Yeah, that was really tight out of turn 4. A little bit of contact between the 43 and 48. They somehow kept it straight. 27 of Beckner really ripping the outside lane now, trying to carry speed. I think tonight this car is going to be well suited to ripping that outside lane, more so than we saw on Monday and Tuesday, especially in the long runs here, Connor. But Jake Nichols is trying to run away from the chaos.
And he's 0.4 of a second clear of Okrezik, but Beckner had some good restarts, initial start and restart for sure. He started 16th, and he probably gained some spots due to EOLs, but he's already up to 3rd. It's been a fast charge to the front in that Central United throwback he's in this week for the 27. He's sliding out of the corner. Tom Bourne sliding up the track. Therian's in the middle, but this is a scramble. This is Talladega. You weren't lying, Hunter. Oh, I thought McKinney was going to go 4.
Yeah, that was the same part of the track where Fambro kind of lost it on, so fortunate that they got away unscathed there. Meanwhile, McKinney in the 87 looking to make it 3 wide amongst the fellow racers mid-pack back there. It's single file for the most part of the top 10, but once you get outside the top 15, it's just 3 by 3.
I think this is one of those races that we'll see these groups on restarts, but if we ever string out, this is one of those that could have the potential of going green all the rest of the way. But not while this is happening. The 42, Brody Falliker, the 87. In the wall in the back straightaway, Blaze McKinney and Greg Mitchell tangle.
Oh, not done. That was a really weird one. That looked like McKinney cleared high, and he wasn't clear.
That
I don't know what that was about.
Back a little ways.
I mean, yeah, I thought it would be bigger if it happened, but only McKinney and Mitchell. McKinney's right in that cut line, can't afford this, and
it just went right.
This game, who did that? Herbst did it in Michigan, something like that. But
sure
yeah, that's kind of a misjudgment, I suppose, Hunter.
Yeah, it looks like it. He just tried to get inside that gap there on that outside lane. It seemed like his car wanted to handle better on the outside. Gets the run off the corners, and he just did not have enough room to get up there.
I think he was just distracted by the guys behind him. It wasn't even like he thought he would be clear. There was no way that he would have been, but the other car was sort of in the blind spot. He might have just not even known he was there at all, to be honest, with the body language there. But 3rd yellow in 16 laps, and just cars just taking hits left and right. That one was not quite as severe, but it's going to have a couple drivers peel off to pit lane. How does this change our fuel outlook, Connor, as we run under caution?
It's kind of 50-lap tank for the most part. Maybe because of off-throttle time, you could stretch that out maybe a few laps, but I don't think you can make it on one stop from here. But we did see some drivers just want to put some extra fuel in the tank, maybe overcut. Could maybe work out for him, maybe catch a yellow, something like that. But I don't think you can make it with one less stop from here. So it was a little interesting to see David Weishart come in from 9th there, and saw Colin Fambro. He got back on track, so he wasn't actually pitting. Tom Bourne from 14th came down, but not many others pit. So we'll see if a little bit fresher tires makes a difference. Weishart had just ran his fastest lap on that last run, so I can't imagine it will, but just some extra fuel, maybe try to go longer next run, but definitely not cutting a stop out from here. You should be able to go 50 on the tank at least.
Well, looking back at that last wreck, I mentioned about Blaze McKinney. Where is he at in points? He's 12th in points, so he already was entering with 2 wrecking points, or his wreck score was 2 points coming in, so he had a EOL. Assuming that he'll get another 2 points for causing that one, that'll put him at 4, and anywhere between 4 to 5 points. That's going to be a drive-through under green for the next race, which would be at Rockingham, so already not looking like a good sign for the 87. If he can keep this thing relatively clean for the rest of the race, it'll be a miracle, but already looking at a hole to dig out of for the next race.
Well, certainly a hole to dig out of for some in this race as well, but a replay sponsor, we've gotten some work out with it so far, Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at the Hendry County Motorsports Park. Join us on September 21st to see Crusoe late models, V8 Warriors, Thunder Trucks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit HendryRacing.com for more information. Great racing going on here, and the 21st is Saturday night. There's a lot of racing going on this week, guys.
Yeah, it's been all sorts of stuff happening. iRacing, the IndyCar Pro Series started up tonight. as far as sim racing goes. So that's interesting as well. That might actually be going on right now, too.
Well, as far as real racing, we had ARCA earlier at Bristol. We got the truck race on now, so if you're able to do a side-by-side of area and the truck race, props to you. And yeah, that's where the next couple of NASCAR races will be at. And Dale Jr. races tomorrow night, so as a Junior fan, I am excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well he'll run.
Could be the last time.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't catch on fire like last year.
I mean, he could win, so I hope he doesn't either. As long as they bring in literally the same car, so he should be in contention again.
Well, 1 to green here. Cars are doubled up, getting set for the restart. And working lap 19 of 130, but slow progress here so far. Cars coming onto and off of pit road here. Everyone down to 23rd has not yet made a trip to pit lane. Everyone from 23rd on back has. Most of those were serving crash damage or maybe just topping off with fuel. Cedric Hunter, Weishart, Stafford, and Bourne only on there for under 5 seconds each.
Real quick, Connor, before we get back going, what's the fuel run looking like for these guys, especially since we've had 3 yellows within the first 20 laps of the race, for those that haven't come to pit road yet?
Well, the tank should go 50 laps, so maybe you stretch a few more laps out because of all the yellows we've had for the guys who haven't pit. So maybe 50, 55 is when they try to pit, somewhere around there. Maybe stretch the fuel to the end with all these yellows. If you split it evenly, you're probably pitting around the 40 to 50 range, so maybe we'll see drivers in around then.
Pace cars off. Jake Nichols, Okrezik, Beckner, Bell, Deweese. Green flag, we're back underway at Chicagoland. Great restart by the 73. He's going to clear Okrezik and leave everyone fighting for scraps behind him.
What you notice about these restarts compared to Tuesday night, you're not seeing anyone go 3 wide on the apron. They're a little bit more spread out, at least right now. We could see that later for sure, but at least not yet as Falliker and Therian are side by side. Looks like Ryan Hartz is looking 3 wide in the background, but Jake Nichols is...
Spin.
Oh, there goes...
Sideways.
64
that's Ed
Robertson. He saves it. Nicely done, and that's going to spread the field out, actually, which could help us in these chaotic first laps after we launch from behind the pace car.
And Ed Robertson was not happy with Ryan Hartz over the radio. He is one of the radio sweethearts of the area, but he made a great save there. I thought I saw Hartz looking 3 wide, and clearly it didn't work.
It's a lot to make the Muffin Man mad, and see what Hartz did here going into 3, and it's actually the 44 kind of played a little bit into that too, kind of pinched him there, and I guess Hartz wasn't expecting that to happen, and certainly Ed Robertson wasn't, but fortunately they all come away unscathed until green flag racing.
I think what you're looking at there is just, you know, maybe he's frustrated that Hartz was sticking the nose in there and not just letting them race for a few laps just to get the tires underneath them. In these early moments, we've seen how loose people are. You just want a little margin, right? So can't fault Ed for being mad at the Hartz car. I don't know that that's where all of his energy should be turned, though. It was the 44 on the outside that sort of contributed to that.
And he's probably upset at the 54 for just sticking his nose there this early in the race. But I personally, I don't know if Zach Nichols even knew they were 3 wide, but he definitely pinched the bottom. We saw an incident like that with Weishart, Yaroshak, and someone else on the bottom. I think it was Matheson. So pinching happens here, and we're probably not done with the pinching yet. But they kind of spread out the back half of the field a little bit. It's 18th on back, a little bit more spread out. Still have battles with Weaver and Lakatos right inside the top 15. But for the most part, pretty orderly, at least at the front. Nichols, Okrezik 1-2. Beckner now 3rd. Just cleared Matthew Bell in the 43. As Shane Therian's the first one to test the apron out on his front stretch, but his 27 looks fast.
Yeah, probably one of, if not the biggest movers of the race. Started 16th. Some guys had EOLs, but nonetheless had to drive up inside the top 5, running in the 3rd spot, and guys game face on, sitting behind Okrezik, just logging in laps, just trying to get a rhythm going under green.
Well, 3 wide back here. Loosey-goosey in the center. Is that Lakatos in the purple car? Indeed it is. He's going to slot up ahead of Brody Falliker in the 42. Zach Nichols, the pole sitter of the night. We know this car is fast based on qualifying. He's done a nice job moving forward despite that contact a couple of laps ago on the restart.
You can see where he's gaining speed. He really charges corner entry to center and got up to the outside of Falliker doing that. And he's kind of led Zach Carr up through the field. Carr just didn't get a qualifying time down, no EOL, but he's followed this 44 up through the field a little bit. And Race Slate's done the same thing, 36th to 17th for the driver of the 98, as 44 completed that pass on Falliker, as Braxton DeWeese battling Matthew Bell for that 4th position. And DeWeese, probably the most consistent driver of the season besides Jake Nichols maybe, who's been leading the points almost the entire time. But DeWeese, I don't believe, hasn't finished below 12th yet, and I am knocking on wood as we speak. But he's been really solid. We talk about him every week.
And Matthew Bell needing a solid run spin. Oh boy. Had a moment there. He's going to lose that 5th spot now to John Furness, who's going to go to the outside. Here comes Jeff right behind, looking to make it 3 wide. Didn't have a big enough run, but nonetheless, DeWeese in the middle into 1.
Nice defense there, actually, from the 13. Kind of covered all his bases by just picking the middle of the road. He's going to drift up and try to cover off the 28. Furness has to lift, and he's in the wall. Took the air off the nose of the Haviline car. And you're right, Connor, no finishes worse than 12th. He tied his worst finish last week at the road course at Montreal, so I think he's happy to be back on the oval. His other 12th was at Sonoma.
Yeah, so road courses aside, I'm sure he's happy about that. He can get even better finishes now towards the end of the season without any of those road courses, as that kind of calmed down a little bit. I think Furness is all good. No damage on the 28. Philip Groner's trying to move through the field. Start off the season really hot, not as hot as of late, but still second in the points. He missed last week at Montreal, but just kind of steady in the top 10 right now, as Therian and Lakatos are still doing battle. And here comes that 44, that Raising Cane special, coming through with a box combo to the outside.
Yeah, this is all going on behind Philip Groner, the 11 car with the New York Jets paint scheme. Ironically, the Jets have an 11-point lead, so good for fellow Jets fan Philip Groner, as he looks to keep this battle behind him at bay, with Casey Lakatos knocking on the door for a top 10.
Yeah, Lakatos has been throwing that 50 car around. He's been really aggressive with it, but he's found speed. There's the 29 of Weaver to the inside. Jane Therian down here at 3 and 4. Starting to click some laps away, guys, and lap times have already falled off. Wow, good English, Kyle. Fell off a full second from where we were on the restart.
These drivers, it seems like, knock on wood again, settling down a little bit, but these battles are still pretty frantic at the front. All the Central United cars look pretty sporty. All of them have different schemes representing their 2-year anniversary of Central United's existence. 48 has one. Beckner has a Tupper throwback, I believe, and Lakatos also has a special throwback, but he is going to lose that spot to that 44 of Nichols. Weaver slid right across the nose of the 9 of Therian. Zachary Carr right in behind that battle, as well as it's single file, but a lot more packed up behind this 44 and 50 right now. You got Zach Nichols at the head of it, and then not too much further behind is Cameron Hearn. He's all the way back in 18th position-wise.
There was the 42 of Brody Falliker. Was looking underneath Zach Carr, but now under attack from Rafe Slate in the 98. Got Cameron Hearn in the 4 as well, trying to creep into the picture.
Using some more grooves around this racetrack. I really enjoy watching racing at Chicagoland in iRacing, because this is one of those places where it really feels like you can spread out. You can run different lines, very much like Fontana has felt over the years in iRacing. Even before multi-groove really existed, you could kind of search around a little bit. And this track, much different than Kansas, which we're going to see a very high line dominant racetrack. I think you can experiment a little bit. We've seen it this week, but I think this car is the best suited for this multi-groove racing.
I think it should be as well, but we are seeing most drivers on that bottom line right now, 30 laps in, the biggest run of the race so far. Most drivers, at least in 3 and 4, looked planted to the white line or maybe in the middle, but you'll see in 1 and 2 some drivers running that higher line. I think that's John Furness in the higher group trying to near the front. You got Lakatos, Slate, Zachary Carr a little bit higher as well, so the tires are still not completely warm because of all the yellow flag that we had. This is now about a 10, 11, 12 lap run, so we should start to see those grooves be used up even more, even with the cooler temps.
Yeah, that last time by Beckner, quicker by 19 one-thousandths of a second on Jake Nichols. We'll see what the lap times stand here as the battle continues between Casey Lakatos and Alex Weaver.
A great battle here for 12th place. Zach Nichols has moved north of this now into 11th, continuing his charge up. And if he could erase the EOL by the halfway point of this event, I think he'd be pretty happy with that. But it's got a long way to go. It gets harder the closer you get to the front, Connor.
Yeah, certainly is going to get harder. Moved up pretty quickly, but now he's kind of going to meet his match with the drivers in the top 10. Groner, Scioli, Alex Bell, Jeff Wright. Not names to be taken lightly, so I think it will take him a little bit longer. It might even take some pit strategy if we get to that point to make some positions up. So we'll see what that strategy could end up being, as he is clear of this battle for 12th. Lakatos, Weaver, Carr still doing battle. Then 14th position, I believe, is at stake right now, or one of those positions with Cameron Hearn and Ray Slate. Goodness.
Wow.
That was a major moment there for Zach Carr, and Casey Lakatos trying to go as high as they can.
Look at where Zach Carr started, 34th up to 13th. He's been charging pretty hard here as of late, running lap times that are quick enough to be about 9th. So see if he can keep this momentum moving.
And his kryptonite right now is that he has nowhere to go. Stafford just had a wiggle, but kept it straight. Zach Carr's kryptonite, he can't go to the bottom line to avoid Case Lakatos because Alex Weaver's sticking it down there to the inside every lap, and he can't clear the 29 quite yet, so he just kind of has to sit in Lakatos' wake as Weaver kind of slides up the racetrack. Hearn has a run on both of them, but he's going to go to 97 because I think he does recognize that 97 might be faster. That higher line just, oh, they make contact there. Higher line just easier for passing. You pinch someone down to the inside, get to their right rear, you pretty much have it much harder to make ground up on the bottom as the run goes on.
Well, as the field flies by, and look a little further up on the field, John Furness swapping fourth with Braxton DeWeese. Matthew Bell still outside the top 5 as DeWeese gets that forward bumper all over the forward bumper of the 28 of John Furness. Kyle, I was going to say the cars we saw earlier on, the reason for that, at least for me, full moon. So calm down now, but just know that there's a full moon out tonight and still about 90 laps of action for some more shenanigans to unfold.
That's interesting to know. We had a massive power grid outage in Chicago yesterday that like turned off power to 1,500 homes, and the trains weren't running, and it was chaos. And there were solar storms going on too. I wonder if it's all connected with my little tinfoil hat. But there's Matthew Bell on DeWeese now, trying to take 5th spot away. This 13 car seems to be fading a little the longer we get into this run. And Connor, as you pointed out, we had a lot of yellow flag laps, so we didn't really use up all the tires. This is still 20 laps into a run-ish, 15. So
just about.
Yeah, you don't really want to be burning them up this quick. You got to pace yourself here.
You definitely got to pace yourself. You probably still need to go about 10 laps to get to your fuel, or at least to your pit window. So if you wore out the tires at this point, you're going to start falling backwards. So on Tuesday night, Seth Knoll had that happen to him, just faded outside the top 10. He wore the tires out so quickly, not anticipating a long run. So you got to be really, really careful. Make sure you keep some right front and right rear on it. I think specifically that right front, because if you don't have that right front tire, you wear that out, you're going to go into the outside wall pretty easily out of turns 2 and 4, as they're still battling going around this racetrack, as there always is. Tom Bourne's moving up into 15th. Rafe Slate maybe starting to fade a little bit. Here comes David Weishart. He pit on the last yellow, has some fresher tires, Hunter, but kind of like how I anticipated, they're not really doing that much.
Kind of stabilized now as the green flag run's gone on a little bit longer, as 16 of Bourne runs 15th on the racetrack, and really where the main battles are. Well, at least where guys are starting to get comfortable doing 2 wide, 3 wide. Gap has started to close down a little bit between Nichols, Kresick, and Beckner. It's about 4 car lengths separating the 14 and the 73. Meanwhile, Beckner's closed the gap to 7 car lengths, so he's starting to close in. Meanwhile, Bell for 5th continuing with DeWeese to the inside and Bell running the outside.
Yeah, it looks like some good progress here for the 43, kind of trying to work over the 13. Look at the run he built on corner exit. He had to swing hard left and up the backstretch towards turn 3. He's going to drop down here into the pocket and try to sneak in between the 28 and 13, but he's not going to get there. And DeWeese is going to throttle up, kind of ride the rim, and he's going to maybe hold this pass for a little bit longer.
That's what we're talking about. On fresher tires, you're going to be running the bottom line just because it's better for the tires, and it's just too much grip to make that high line work. But once this run goes on, it just gets so much harder to make that ground up on the bottom line. You saw Bell get the run on the top side to get to the inside of DeWeese, but DeWeese decided to fight for it and keeps that spot just right in the outside. And there's nothing Matthew Bell can really do about it.
No, just let him have the spot and live to fight another battle, as Jeff Wright was closing in on that. But yeah, these guys started to close in bit by bit on Jake Nichols in the 73. John Furness even closing in, about to make it a 4-car, well, I shouldn't say battle, but 4 cars within a second of the leader.
It's definitely closing down here. Nichols has lost a little pace the last few laps, and Okrezik is just starting to smell the blood in the water and creep in to this mix. So we started with, what, 3 yellows in the first 20 laps, and here we are now, green for the next 20. And making good progress here towards green flag pit stops the second half of this race. Big Nichols has led almost all of them so far. All of them, in fact. That's almost all of them, too.
Yeah, but you can kind of see who's better and who isn't right now on tires, and kind of not what we were expected to see from Jake Nichols. There's a shot of Chicago. We're not in Chicago.
We're close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
It looks terrible on iRacing, so I had to get shoot B-roll from something that looked half decent.
I can't blame you there. It's not really what we're accustomed to seeing with Jake Nichols. Usually he has the long run pace, but that's just not the case right now. Okrezik and Beckner have kept their stuff a lot better, and you can see Nichols, he's having to start the maneuver around, look for grip elsewhere other than the bottom of the racetrack, so he's going to go to the top trying to defend from Okrezik and Beckner, but those two are definitely faster than him right now. And it's kind of interesting, Hunter, because he had the clean air. You thought he'd be able to pull away late in the run, but it's really the opposite.
We've known him as a preserver of tires, especially on the longer run, and really haven't seen him negotiate that outside lane until just then, where guys were starting to close in and catch him. But I think now he's starting to take notice that, hey, they're catching me on the outside. Well, I'm going to take away that outside lane, and seems like it's fine for the most part. Yeah, he's running the exact line as Okrezik, keeping him at bay, and Beckner trying to get any clean air whatsoever down on the bottom.
Now, as Okrezik was fighting Nichols, it brought Beckner up alongside the 14, and that's what I worry about if I'm Okrezik is, you know, I can't take my focus off my mirror because Travis Beckner is there. So that's a little bit of a distraction, Connor, that he'll have to contend with because Beckner is not going anywhere.
No, I think Beckner's faster than both of them, but making that pass on one driver is going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard for him to clear the 14 of Okrezik if he doesn't have that room to slide up in front of him because Jake Nichols is right in front of him. So Beckner's just going to have to maybe sit in line a little bit. We really shouldn't be far away from green flag pit stops here next 5-10 laps for everyone who hasn't pit. So I'd almost consider maybe coming in the next few laps just getting the jump on both of the drivers in front of him instead of potentially risking a crash here on this first run of the race, but he's definitely faster than both of them.
Okrezik tried to go to the outside. Nichols would not give him the room, but 1/10 separates the top 3 right now as Nichols continues to lead. Okrezik holds on to second for the time being, but Beckner still challenging on the inside.
Yeah, fierce fight here for the top 3. This is good stuff. Look at Beckner carving into the inside of the 14. He can smell the lead, and this year it has been checkers or wreckers for this 27, and third isn't going to do it tonight for him. He has got to satiate his thirst for
spin at a 4. Someone's in the grass back there. So he keeps it straight. Don't know what happened there, but he's going to keep it straight, and we're going to stay green as Okrezik went a little lower than Nichols, but couldn't get the lead there. He might have gotten help from Cameron Hearn.
Just a little bit of help.
Yeah, just a little push. Went for a slide. He saves it. We go back to this lead battle because it is hot right now. Okrezik gets a nice run here. Lost 50 laps complete this time. Jeff Wright is hitting pit lane.
Someone else's Senesac is. This is around when the fuel, if it went green, this is when the fuel would have ran out. So these drivers can't go much longer. I think that's a good strategy for the 48, especially with 80 to go and another pit stop to go. We'll see who else might follow him in next lap.
That's an interesting call because, say, they run another 50 laps, they could pit with 30 to go and could be in a good spot. Not sure if that's going to open the door for other guys to come on down pit road. Well, it did for one driver at least, but yeah, still a tense battle for the lead as Beckner's kind of backed off a little bit. Okrezik, though, still charging on the bumper of Nichols.
This is interesting. Those that topped off with fuel, Connor, how much could they have pushed their economy? Could they make it a one-stopper? I mean, just looking at guys like Bronson Stafford, for example, 33 laps on his stint. So if he can go 40 or 45, what do you think, 50 maybe? That would be awful close.
probably like 55-ish. They'd have to go somewhere around there to make it work. David Weishart is the furthest up on what would be that strategy, as they're staying bumper to bumper for the race lead. So Weishart's 3.7 seconds back, and maybe he tries that one stop. I think he got to save a lot of fuel to make that work, though, so we'll see if anyone even tries that.
Yeah, Okrezik's still putting up a decent fight for the 73. Beckner's still holding his own on the bottom, staying within the battle, but not enticing it just yet. I've been looking at John Furnace trying to see if he can close in, and he's been doing it bit by bit. But as we have more takers, Zach Carr and Cameron Hearn down pit road.
And Zach Carr had to give in a little bit so that he could make his pit box. Jeremy Miller still limping. That car is decidedly less sideways, so he has been repairing it and has passed at least Colin Fambro, so there's that.
It's actually stayed ahead of Fambro. Fambro got back on track. Blaze McKinney's exited the race, so he will lose a lot of points at the cut line, as the 30 will just have to let the leaders by, hopefully cleanly. That's going to hurt Okrezik and Beckner.
Whoa.
Oh, they make contact. Beckner and Okrezik entering the corner, navigating around the 30. It almost shot Okrezik to be inside of the 73, but here comes Beckner with a run right to the bumper.
Yeah, Okrezik scraped the wall coming out of turn 4, so that's kind of what set him off a little squirrely as the 27 sends it to the inside. Look at it, takes second away. Jake Nichols will encourage this battle as he looks to break away from these two.
Side by side out of turn 4, really tight quarters between these two. Confidence and commitment, both these drivers have.
Another pit stop. Ryan Hartz came in, and almost like Jake Nichols kind of brought Okrezik into a battle with Beckner. Oh, Okrezik bounces off the wall there. They're going to stay side by side, though. But it's almost like holding up the 14 and putting him back with the 27 helped Nichols a little bit, because it's got him a little bit of a buffer. But now Beckner's cleared of that runner-up position, and we'll see if he has tire left to chase back down to 73 in a quick amount of time.
Yeah, I would expect Okrezik to make a pit stop relatively soon. He has been scraping the wall the last couple of laps. Saw it that time by through turn 2. See how he goes through again. Looks like it's going to be a little more cautious, as Beckner's going to steer clear for second.
The 27 had great mid-corner speed there. I saw him not only leave the 14 behind, but gain on the 73. He's got something mid-turn that I really like.
48 has something mid-turn, too. It's called tires.
Yeah, they're working out for him, aren't they?
About a second and a half to 2 seconds faster right now. That's the difference. But we're at lap 57. We're only 8 laps away from halfway. So maybe we can make it. Maybe the fuel's stretching far enough to make it a one-stop. But this is still really pushing it. But if these guys can get close to a one-stop, Hunter, those drivers who topped off, like 33 of Weishart, who got tires that last yellow, could be in for a great strategy if it can go green.
Yeah, that'd be really nice for David Weishart. Again, he won here in Season 4, the first time area went here for the Pro Series. I still think Jeff Wright would be in a good spot, too, and those guys that pitted on lap 50, 51, 52, they split it evenly. They'll have fresher tires to the end if this stays green, but that's the big if, because we're 3 wide battling for positions here.
Yeah, Casey Lakatos is in the middle of it all. There's Shane Theron in the orange car as well. And for the lead, Travis Beckner to the bottom of Jake Nichols. And we could see our first lead change here if he can make it stick on the bottom, but this is going to be tough. To the stripe, here they come, and this time by Nichols will stay the leader for now. Okrezik hits pit lane.
And I think that's important, because that's going to give Okrezik the lead almost certainly here. If someone else followed him in a little further back, that might have been Alex Bell, but I think that's the right call. Get an undercut on this battle for the race lead, and he should gain a pretty decent bit. And if Nichols wanted to pit right now, he could, and Beckner's going to pinch him to the inside.
There comes Matthew Bell on the 43. Fresher tires for him. He's going to fly right by in the middle, and Beckner's going to come in and pit while the iron's hot.
Wow, that was
Whoa,
impressive.
John Furnace.
Oh, he made it. That was tough. Wow, great entry there.
Beckner brought in everyone. Rafe Slade, Alex Weaver, Alex Bryson. A number of drivers came in that time, and you could only assume Nichols is going to have to respond, but we'll see how much longer, if any longer, these drivers can go.
We've got a clear track behind him, so we won't have to worry about being run over trying to get on the pit road, which difficult in itself, Kyle, going from 18 degrees of banking to none.
Here he comes.
Gaioli's going to stay out. A decent amount of others stayed out. Matt Kemp pits. Lakatos pits.
I do like staying out longer here, guys, though, because this race now has shown me that it can go green, and it might be one of those we crash early and go green all the way to the end, in which case I really like staying out longer. And passing doesn't seem to be much of a challenge tonight. If you've got the tire advantage and you've got clear racetrack, I think you can make passes. So I want to have the advantage late in the race, and Scioli knows how to do this. I picked him, right? I did.
Yes.
Good.
It's Philip Groner brought Zach Nichols, Shane Therian, and Brody Falliker in, so still waiting on that 7, but this is something he's done in the past, play the long game, get fresher tires to the end, and it has worked out for him in seasons past and races past. And we'll see if he kind of look longer. He's going to go to the bottom this time, so I think he's going to pit. Weishart can go a little bit longer, as can Sogak as well. Zachary Carr cut that close. 7 a lot safer entry than we saw a lot of others have, but he's going to make it on, no problem.
Yeah, we'll get through just fine. Still waiting on the rest of the field to come down, that being Weishart and Sogak, Stafford, Cedric Hunter on board, although those guys pitted under one of the yellows. I believe it was the last yellow, so they can still go about another 15, 20 laps. This thing goes green. Meanwhile, Jeff Wright is the highest driver who's pitted and under this green flag run.
Yeah, his lead isn't insignificant right now, but it is going to shrink pretty rapidly, I feel. So the car we'd be looking for after him would be Okrezik and Beckner, and they are a considerable distance behind, about a third of a lap almost, but the difference is about 10 laps worth of tires, Connor, and that will make a pretty big difference right now. Beckner just ran a 31-1 to Jeff Wright's, he did a discontinuity. Matthew Bell's on a similar strategy to a 32 flat, so 9/10 of a second slower.
Yeah, I saw Jeff Wright's lap last time by was a 32-1. Beckner's was a 31-2, so that's a full second difference as far as tire wear. Beckner came in about lap number 60. Jeff Wright was really one of the first ones I saw come in. He came in lap 50, so a lot older tires on a 48, but it did get him a good lead, and if the yellow falls right, it could end up working out. Whoa, Carr and Beckner had some contact, but that didn't turn into anything bigger. But yeah, it's all about track position, getting clean air on the nose for the 48 and I believe the 43, and that could end up working at the end of a long run if they have fresher tires because of that clean air. There's a little bit of neck code too, but pretty small contact, no problem there.
Could have been major, but they managed to get away unscathed for the most part. Just crossing the halfway bit of this race, we still have a nice green flag run after 3 yellows within the first 20 laps of the race. So good to establish a rhythm, and still waiting on pit stops from the top 5 drivers. They can go about another 10 to 15 laps on fuel if they really want to. But still looking at, Matthew Bell, Jeff Wright, those guys, they pitted under green, but it's the guys behind him, Okrezik, Beckner, Jake Nichols as well, trying to navigate their way back towards the front.
So 5 drivers have yet to pit, and so they are now on lap 49 for Sogak, lap 51 of their stint, which means that this time by, it's 51 to go, 61 to go, so they still need to go another 5 laps, Connor, to split that in half.
Yeah, and it shows how much under yellow was really saved by the drivers who had pit before on any of those yellows, because guys like James Scioli, he was still able to go about 63 laps on a tank, and you still have some other drivers trying to stretch that, but it's going to be close for Weishart and Anna Sogak. It is good. You're going to have to save more this next coming run on fuel, just because you're not going to have those yellows. Unless you get that yellow, then your strategy's toast. But you're going to have to clutch and coast, use a lot less brake, really don't use any brake to make this work. And it could end up working. One less pit stop makes a difference. When it's 2 seconds of fall off is a lot, but it's not enough to make a 2-stop work over 1 stop. So if you don't have to save too much, it could end up working, but I still think he's got to save a decent amount.
Nonetheless, this would be battle for position right here. Beckner, Okrezik, 8th and 9th on the racetrack. Beckner keeping the 14 at bay.
Yeah, Beckner 1 lap newer tires and drove by the 14. They were battling for the lead before with Jake Nichols. Now Jake has a lap fresher tires than Beckner, but is still trying to carve his way through some of this traffic. But that's what 1 lap of advantage gives you. Imagine the size of advantage that Scioli will get with an additional 3 over Okresic. So, but Scioli's buried pretty deep in traffic and in a pretty fierce fight right now as well as we go back to check in on the 7.
Yeah, that's kind of the trade-off. If you try to do an overcut, get fresher tires, you'll have fresher tires to the end, but you'll probably have to battle a lot more cars and use that tire advantage up battling these other cars. And he's not making up ground. He can't get by Rafe Slate. He can't clear Alex Weaver, as Weaver's actually going to cut the 7 off here. So this is what's going to make this strategy not really work, as he's going to have to get back under the 29 at this point. But that's the issue with overcutting, get caught in traffic like this. While that's the advantage of undercutting for guys like Jeff Wright and Matthew Bell, because you get clean air, but you have nothing at the end of your run.
Yeah, they're actually about to swap places for 7th. Bell, Beckner, Okresic. That battle's about to get intense. Well, Bell's going to run the outside. Thought it would be a little bit more spicy, but nonetheless, they're still carving their way through the 43.
Spicy like Rick's hot sauce, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like we're having a lot of yellows tonight. Might as well head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Beckner, Okresic. Okresic was a little tight out of turn 4 that time through. Bronson Stafford is on pit lane. 54 laps into his run. He's going to call it. And Sogak is 57 in, so he's good now. And I think we'll see him pit. Not this time.
Not yet. Going to stretch it another lap. They're still about 10 seconds ahead of... He's about 10 seconds ahead of Jeff Wright, who would be the leader cycling out, although Beckner's still closing in on the 48. And then David Weishart's another 4.1 seconds in front of that 88. And Tom Bourne's back there, too, who had a slide through the grass. I don't think he's pit yet either. Same for Cedric Hunter. So all these drivers, the longer they go, the more I think they can make it work.
Top 4 stuff to pit. Jeff Wright, the first one on somewhat fresh tires, or at least tires fresher than the top 4, running in 5th, but being chased down by Travis Beckner. Here comes 88 of Anna Sogak, one of the front 4 to come down pit road.
Yeah, so it looks like he'll be okay if he does what he did on this run again. 58 laps complete and 55 to go, so he looks to be all right. That only leaves 3 drivers that have yet to pit: Weishart, Bourne, and Cedric Hunter, all of which I think are in a similar strategy, and here they come this time. Weishart first, and I imagine we'll see this next 2 come too.
Bourne and Hunter, they've actually been in a little bit of a battle, and they're both going to come down at the same time. So I can only imagine they stretch the fuel as far as possible, and they need this to go fully green. I'm pretty convinced now that they can make this work and probably finish near the front, as Wright had a tap of the wall there, as the 27 of Beckner closing in even more. But I think they really needed to go green. I think if this goes green, they're in a great spot. And Weishart's especially in a great spot because he had no one around him on that strategy. He was all alone.
Yeah, he came down pit road as well, so it looks like everything's going to cycle through. And there's the 11 of Philip Groner. He cycles back inside the top 10.
Matt Liveries was asking if the New York Jets car burst into flames yet. And the answer to that is no.
The tie-dye one he painted did.
And ironically, they still have an 11-point lead, so they haven't gone full collapse mode yet.
What a shame it's still running, they say. Didn't have the Jeremy Miller luck tonight.
No.
He's still running, still have some drivers out of the race, including McKinney, Grant, Slaughter, Munsell, and Joey Chapman. Still only 5 retirements at this point, as Garrett Grant just left the session, so he's really going to be out of this race. Is almost ready for that final battle for the lead of this run, or at least the first battle, the true battle for the lead for this run. Jeff Wright way undercut, Travis Beckner kind of pit around when you'd expect to, and he's finally caught that 48. It did take a little longer than I thought it would, so it's going to end up being a pretty solid strategy for the 48, but that 27 should fly by him here in the next set of corners.
And the 2 of Mitchell is going to fly by the 48 before the 27 does. He'll have a look to the inside for the lead in 3. Wright going to try and keep the outside lane rolling, but the newer tire is going to prevail. 10-lap difference for Travis Beckner's tires and Jeff Wright's tires. New leader, Beckner at Chicagoland.
Closing in on 50 laps to go as well. Is there any inkling of strategy, Connor, where you would reverse this, where you might pit now at 50 to go instead of, like, if you're going to split it into 50 and 30? Would you just make your 30-lap stint this one and make the last one 50? Would anyone try that?
I guess it depends where you are in strategy. If you're maybe in a battle holding you up, like if Jake Nichols gets held up a little bit here, maybe he would consider pitting a little bit earlier, but I'd be shocked if someone really did go way short. I think if anyone were to pit early, it'd be the 48, but he undercut so much that would pretty much be normal for him as the 73 into the third position, as Zach Nichols just came off the pit lane a little late earlier than normal. So maybe he just did that strategy because he only pit 15 laps ago. That's way early, so not sure what happened to the 44, but I was confused. Everyone went a little longer than I thought they would strategy-wise. Maybe they were trying to make a one-stop work and failed, but I was a little surprised there. Most people kind of made this very uneven stints to the end.
Well, Jake Nichols in a good spot to position himself around the 48 of Jeff Wright. Going to close in on that bumper, and kind of Beckner's last line of defense there as he has a half-second gap between the two, and just ever so slightly closing in on that 48. He'll try to position himself better in 3 and 4, but Wright's not giving up that bottom.
No, he's tucked right in that white line. Going to force Nichols to figure out something. He's going to tuck underneath on the exit of turn 4, and now we'll throttle on right on through. And this race is so much closer to ending than you would think it would be. About 25 minutes of racing from here to the end, and that is going to include a pit stop for most of the drivers in the field here. Look at Zach Nichols on fresh tires. He's going to carve on through this fierce battle for second between Nichols, Wright, and Okrezik. And Nichols, even passing the cars that he just did, Connor, was only 7 thousandths of a second off of Beckner's speed last lap.
But can he keep the tires on it this time is a question. Even in clean air, he was not able to do that, so it's going to be a lot tougher when he gets to the rear bumper of the 27. If he can't escape that dirty air, it's going to be a lot tougher to make the pass work, especially running the bottom. Beckner's going to give him all the bottom in the world. I think Beckner has no issue running the top side and using that defensive line to keep the 73 at bay. I just think it's going to be really, really tough. Once Nichols gets incredibly close in dirty air, it's going to be a lot tougher to make it work and keep those tires in good shape.
Yeah, still rolling on the bottom. Haven't seen him navigate to the outside lane yet, trying to preserve some more of the tires as you saw in that last stint.
Watch the 27, watch the hands. See him snap back to the right there a couple of times mid-corner, then really neutral steer on the exit. So he's...
Incident, Cameron Hearn and Alex Weaver and Alex Bell all crashed on the front straightaway. Not what the one-stoppers like Weishart wanted here.
Well, that changes the whole dynamic of this race, doesn't it?
This was pretty much done pitting under green.
We thought for sure that with the way this race was going, we would see this go all the way to the end, but it's not what happened. Let's see how this kicked off. 4 cars in the middle. He's going to drift out. He's going to get tagged by the 51 and goes into the 15. Hard impact for the 4. And then the 29 just gets clipped.
Poor Alex Weaver had nothing he could do there, but that was really, that was a big mistake by Kemp or something. He just turned Cameron Hearn. And
that was one of those crashes that would rip the door skin off, you know, like when you see all the foam come out.
The foam, yeah.
Let's see if we can ride on board with the 51 and kind of get his perspective. Maybe he was just trying to give a bump draft, but any oval, Connor, one of the trickiest parts is the tri-oval, you know, where you're kind of unsettled. And he just kind of swipes across the bumper there, and that's what triggers that whole thing.
I can't tell. Maybe he's trying to go 3 wide or something. Maybe not trying to bump drive the 4, but maybe cut to his inside, but just really misjudged it, hit the 4 in an uneven way, and sent Hearn around. And Alex Bell was also an innocent bystander in that as well, but just definitely a mistake by the 51.
Was ugly. Wow, the 29 came flying in there. He thought he had it cleared too, and he did not.
Zachary Carr had a spin on pit entry as well. Everyone's come down the pit lane. As the 51 got away with that instant scot-free. Everyone comes down the pit lane. And yeah, Zachary Carr just spun on pit entry, so he's going to lose a lot of track position, but the car is clean. And big race out of pit lane with no green flag pit stops left, and Beckner got it easy. Nichols got second. John Furness might have came out of that third.
He did, and Okrezik had a terrible pit stop sequence, as did Jeff Wright, Hunter, and they're going to come out 5th and 6th.
Yeah, lost about half a second in the box. Might have overslid his pit box. Did he just, no, he's still in the race. I don't know if he alt F4'd or not, but he's still there. Not sure if he overslid his pit box, but definitely a half-second lost on that stop for Okrezik.
Travis Beckner is going to lead this race. We're going to have 40 laps to go on the restart or thereabouts. So it's game on now. And this is now the stage, Connor, we're going to look at the laps remaining and say, are we going to go green to the end here, or are we going to see what we saw potentially in the trucks race, which is people getting really aggressive to try to steal what they can on the restarts?
Yeah, I think the one thing that maybe makes the restarts a little less scary is the lack of pack racing for the most part. We saw drivers go into the apron before we even got into turn 1 on Tuesday night. That shouldn't be the case, but we saw with the initial start and the 2 restarts afterwards that it can get very, very hairy and too aggressive to the point where we start crashing a bunch of cars. So drivers got to keep their heads on, no doubt about it, or else you're going to be on the wrecker. And there's a lot of drivers still at the front of the field with points on the line that can't afford days like that.
Keep your heads on, right?
Someone's not aggressive, at least for now.
No, Apollo's very much not aggressive. He's been enjoying his day. I've just been really admiring. I got a new haircut today. I'm so stoked about it. I think it looks so good. And there's something in my hair, though. I'm stoked about it because I get my haircut downstairs because I live above a barber shop, which is really cool. This is my first time in Chicago. I've been here 5 years now, living in a mixed-use building. And I think it was a grocery store at one old point, but it's a barber shop now, and it's really nice to just go downstairs and get a haircut. Because that's a thing that feels like a pain in the butt to do, but you just walk down your steps and they're there. They take care of you, my homies. So, stoked. This came off of an SRO Pit Pass show. We were talking to drivers about the Indianapolis 8-hour. I've got some fun news about that coming up as well. I don't think I can share it yet, but one of the endurance races of all time at the beginning of October. Yeah, Jay Ray Bay, enjoying the simple things in life like a fresh fade. That is right. So, and my cat hanging out with me. So, pretty stoked about that. And we're going to double up for the restart here. And Nichols on the top, Beckner on the bottom. And Connor, restart with 41 to go. A little bit of a reshuffle. What do we see from here on out?
We see aggressive racing for clean air. I think Beckner needs to get a very big jump here to get away from the 73 because I think Nichols has short run speed, but Beckner, I think, was saving short run speed for the long run and it ended up working out, as did his pit strategy. But I think everyone's going to be giving it everything on this short run because I think a lot of people are going to anticipate yellows and push their stuff very hard. I'd look for Jeff Wright to go to the outside immediately and try something here. Same thing for Connor Okrezik.
Let's see it again. 41 to go from Chicagoland Speedway, round 9 of the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Pace car is going to peel off. Back up on the outside, but we're back underway. And Beckner immediately to the apron to try to break away from that field and also defensively keep anyone else from trying to sneak underneath him.
It's fully legal. He can go down there. We saw it Tuesday like we were talking about. He's going to keep him side by side for a second, but Nichols with the run off the top, going to get by John Furness. Here comes Braxton DeWeese. He could get into the top 3 with a good run out of turn number 4, and Okrezik's kind of a loser here on this restart, stuck behind the 28. Furness sideways. They're all sideways on the bottom, but if Okrezik can't get out of that
crash,
line.
turn 4.
Is that Alex Bryson?
Did he keep it straight? Somehow he bounced it off the wall and did, like a ping pong ball.
A lot of damage to that 38, though. It's going to be tough to recover from with only 40 laps to go. They're 3 wide. DeWeese is sliding at the front. We'll look at the 38 later. DeWeese got hit from the 48 again. I thought they were surely going to crash. DeWeese almost took out a dozen cars there, but he kept it straight as Nichols is all over Travis Beckner at the same time.
Yeah, this is right in the middle of that top 5 battle, even the battle for 3rd, heating up between O'Kresick, Furness, Skyoli, DeWeese battling for 5th, and Jeff right behind, just soaking it all in as Nichols is closing in, sending it deep for the lead in the 1.
Big dive to the bottom of the track. He looked high, but Beckner slammed the door shut as the field fights for 3rd place. The lead battle is on. They're side by side for a moment, but Nichols doesn't have the run to carry it.
He's trying to get to his bumper in the corner, try to get the 27 loosened up, but he's not really close enough to do that this time. But Beckner got loose anyways. He is pushing hard to try to push Beckner too hard. Someone else is in the wall at turn number 4. That might have been Rafe Slate, but was not as big of a hit as the 38 had.
Jeff Wright's trying to get to the outside of DeWeese. Couldn't do it there. He'll try to get a strong run through 1 and 2. Essentially Larson lining it through. He's going to have a nice run again down the back, but the 7 will look to tuck in.
Oh, the 14's in the wall.
Oh, big check up in front of him there for the 14. Not sure how he got into the wall, but oh, there goes the 70! Sideways through the corner, and he saves it.
Are we out of the woods yet? I saw the 13 sideways too. Skyoli lost all of his positions there, and more to come.
Yeah, that looked like another misjudgment like the 87 had. O'Kresick kind of put himself in the wall there, and then I think DeWeese got spooked, went low, and Skyoli was down there. So the 7 has big right rear damage. That's going to hurt him. Oh, O'Kresick and DeWeese came together again. I think Jeff Wright gave the 14 a shot that time. They are not given any room at this point. This is what I feared would happen, and they're not done yet.
Man, they're still trying to keep everything together. DeWeese, O'Kresick, Jeff Wright, 4th, 5th, 6th, up for grabs. Matthew Bell closing in on this. Going to be an interesting fight into 1.
Gosh, this has really turned up the energy here. I've got replays marked for Bryson and O'Kresick, but for the top spot, or the 2nd spot rather, Furness takes it away from Jake Nichols.
And I'm wondering if Jake Nichols thought, okay, I can't get Beckner now. I got to just lay back and save some tire. Maybe let someone else go for it. John Furness is pushing hard right now, furthest up he's been all day. So maybe he's going to let Furness push to 27's tires too much while pushing his own tires, while Jake Nichols saves his tires and kind of maybe trying to bank on this going green and having fresher tires to the end. But everything going on behind him, I highly doubt that's going to happen as the 48 and 14 are going to trade positions. Someone's way to the apron in the background, but he kept it straight. I think might have been Ed Robertson, but very, very frantic restart.
3 wide again out of turn 4 here, Hunter. And
yes. Oh, man. They are flirting with disaster here right around that top 5 spot. DeWeese still holding it. Meanwhile, Ernest going to send it deep in the 1 for the lead. Trying to get around Beckner. It's going to be a dogfight off 2.
Side by side through 1 and 2. Travis Beckner pulls ahead with that outside lane. Furness will try to side draft him down the backstretch into turn 3. It's going to be a big send here for the 28. Coming up on 30 laps to go soon. It is time to go.
They're just not going to be able to make that work. Beckner's going to pinch him off, get the run off. I think Beckner might have gotten surprised by Furness there. I think the 28 got such a big run off of turn number 4. Beckner might have hit the wall actually to let the 28 get that run, but you pinch down just enough and it makes that guy in the bottom really not able to do much. So that's all really Beckner has to do to keep the lead.
Yeah, doing a fine job of doing that. Meanwhile, behind Rafe Slate's the nearest side-by-side battle for 11th. Matt Kemp on the outside, Casey Lakatos to the inside, and then Zachary Carr behind as well, side-by-side. And Kemp actually bounced off the wall, so Lakatos can have a little, well, I would say a little better, but he's got Zachary Carr, who now goes to the inside, Tom Bourne to the outside, and there's just debris flying everywhere.
I was going to say, I saw particles flying like someone smashed the fence there into turn 1. Like you said, that safer barrier sticks out. It can cause you some strife in the heat of battle. Here comes Nichols back on Furness.
I don't think he's going to get under him quite yet, but I think he's trying to keep the 28 on the 27 to keep putting pressure on the 2 ahead of him. Furness looks a touch faster, but not able to close back in like he did after Beckner hit the wall out of turn 4. 27 car looks clean. Everyone kind of running the bottom. Matthew Bell's the Lone Ranger on the high side as Furness kind of inched up the track a little bit. Got a better run than Beckner, but not quite to the bumper.
And track temp, 87 degrees as the sun is starting to set here in Joliet, Illinois, the site of Chicagoland Speedway, where Beckner looks to hold control of the lead for the next 30 laps, trying to keep John Furness and Jake Nichols at bay.
30 laps to go, and you pointed it out, Travis Beckner has done nothing other than finish poorly or win. Hasn't had a top 5 or a top 10. That was not a victory. So he's really trying to keep that the same tonight. And he has got a lot of work to do to hold off a hard-charging Furness and a plotting Jake Nichols in that 73, Connor. But, you know, how does Travis save tire and set the pace? That's got to be tough to do out front.
It really is hard to do. I'm not sure anyone's mastered that, but I think the most important thing he can do is keep enough pace to where Furness can't get through his rear bumper and loosen them up out of a corner at all, because that's when it could become trouble. I can see Furness is pushing harder, and he's making 1 and 2 a little bit faster time through 1 and 2 than the 27 of Beckner, and he's just kind of trying to go a groove higher, get clean air on the nose like he did right there, just trying to get runs out of the corner, maybe get back to his inside. But that's the best thing Beckner can do, is keep the 28 off his rear bumper, but he might not be able to do it.
And Jake Nichols applying pressure to Furness, so he really can't let off much, so he's going to send it down below the 28 of Furness to the inside for that second spot, and Beckner's going to hope that battle continues so he can try to scoot away from them.
Jake Nichols trying to just eke up alongside the 28, keep him from turning down to the bottom. He's going to do that here in 3 and 4. Got a little more rubber down there, but again, the outside momentum. And this is exactly what Beckner wants to see. Look up in the rearview mirror and see them side by side.
Tom Bourne had a slide out of 4. He kept it straight, though. He's had a wild race tonight, no doubt. But yeah, this is exactly what Beckner wants. Trying to keep side by side. He's going to put dirty air on the nose of a 73, make that pass tougher. He is so close, and Furness actually lifts for the 73. I don't hate that move from Furness, but I am shocked by it. He definitely could have kept the nose to the right rear of Nichols, but he decided to let the 73 go. Definitely lifted out of 2 to let the 73 go after Beckner.
A long time since John Furness went to victory lane. Got to go back to season 3 at Auto Club, and he's got a good shot here running in the 3rd spot. Lost second to Jake Nichols, but Al, if anything happens to the front 2, Furness is in the catbird seat.
Oh, and could it? Beckner and Nichols. We know these drivers have sparred before.
Crash! Slate and Matt Kemp hard into the outside wall at a turn number 2. Zachary Carr, Cedric Hunter, Scioli, Falliker also involved. Huge crash out of turn 2 again.
Wow. Big crash back straightaway. And they have not come little tonight, have they?
No, that's another big one.
Rafe Slate, the 98, just washes up the hill into the 51. Oh, man.
Zach Carr, Tom Bourne, a lot of drivers just couldn't check up in time, but Kemp and Slate, I'm sure, will disagree about that one. As we'll see here, Slate, Hunter to the inside, tries to slide up in front. He wasn't really clear.
Yeah, the Ryan Hartz, fortunately, was able to avoid that as well. He was having a solid run, still is, compared to the rest, as the debris just scatters all over the infield.
Fine, where's the 2-car running? I think he had a pretty interesting perspective of this.
Man.
Wow.
Just cleared up in time.
Yeah, Brody Falliker was not quite so lucky. Came in there with a big head of steam. Tried to get it woed down. Just locked up the rear brakes. He actually got out of there with pretty minimal damage. I don't think he'll have anything noticeable.
I don't think so. I think he got kind of fortunate through that. This is going to bring everyone to pit road for most people's probably second to last set. There might be some people's last set for like David Weissar, for example. This could be his last set. I don't know if we'll see 2-tire strategy. I don't think that's really going to work as well here as Beckner's off of pit lane. David Weishart, as I say it, 2 tires for the 33. He's out first. Nichols got out second. I think Beckner put on the brakes to get to the inside there.
Oh, man. Who was that that did that in the DRS zone? Was that Alonso or Hamilton? Or
I remember Verstappen and Leclerc had a battle like that, but I haven't seen that in the area in a while, but Beckner almost got ran over. He's actually fortunate him and Jeff Wright didn't make contact, but I think he definitely hit the brakes to get to the inside row of row number 2.
That could be a winning move, actually. I mean, when you consider these restarts, how hard it is to get purchase.
It would be if Weishart picks the bottom.
Well, I guess that's the key, right? You don't really know what the leader's going to do.
Yeah, he's betting on the 33 taking the bottom. But yeah, that's a... I don't know if did they outlaw that in NASCAR? I'm not really sure, but it's a smart move if he gets the right lane choice here for sure.
Well, it wouldn't be relevant now because of the choose rule.
Well, that's true as well. But it used to be a big deal when people would do that.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got a couple moments under yellow. Let's tell you about some more of the people and partners that are with the area iRacing League. How about Elite Entertainment? Add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact information. And the High Banks podcast, just two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. New episode with Jacob Bell is out. Check it out on Spotify. And we've heard, we haven't had the choose yet, Connor, but we've heard that the 33 may be taking the top.
He said it over radio that he'd be taking top, so the ever-complicated relationship of Beckner and Weishart, but I'm sure he's probably not happy, but it's not the end of the world here. But this is really going to be a big deal for Jeff Wright. Puts him in a good spot. He's just outside the top 20, but this could be a big deal for him. Any sort of good points day, and he's in the top 20, so a win would be huge.
We'll see what happens here. Lights out. And we'll be left with a 21-lap run to the end from here. About 10 minutes worth of racing. Running order on the left-hand side of your screen. Just as a refresher. And Hunter, we've got 21 laps to go on the restart. Weishart out front, Nichols out front. Then Wright, Beckner, Furness, and Braxton DeWeese. Is this 13 maybe in the right spot for all this on the outside with a good car in position to strike?
I think it's a car in front of him, Jeff Wright, that's probably in the best spot, but yeah, Weishart taking two, might as well. Got to try something new. Needs a solid run to keep his, well, I should say playoff hopes alive. He's 10th in the standings right now. He's already got a pole on the year, but still looking for that first win, and I had a feeling that we would be possibly getting a new winner tonight, so very well could be the 33 of Weishart.
So, field is doubled up behind the pace car, and it is time to go racing again from Chicagoland. 21 laps to go. Weishart in command on the outside lane. Oh, green flag and a big stack up on the bottom, Connor.
I don't know if Nichols missed a shift or what, but he wasn't ready to go, and that is not what Travis Beckner wanted. That's going to get Jeff Wright probably to second. We'll see if, I don't think they have damage. Beckner's loose, but huge restart for the 48. Caution, big crash. I think Greg Mitchell's around, and another crash behind.
Oh, Ed Robertson going in the grass. Not sure if he had contact from anyone else or was just wrecking into someone. I think that's Alexander Bryson, the 38.
Oh, so I think this is all sort of related here. Let's go back. Two car, and the 64 was behind this, so it had to have been. He's just going to get loose on his own.
Same thing the 18 did earlier. I think the 42 got hooked a little bit, and then you saw, I think Ed Robertson got a little piece of it, and that kind of set that off. That's going to end his night.
So Beckner is now 5th. So he's back a row from where he was. And that last restart did not go his way.
No, I'm not sure. Nichols didn't miss a shift because he got back going, but it's almost like maybe he was in the wrong gear for the restart and just didn't go. I'm actually shocked Nichols was able to stay third through all that, but literally worst case scenario for, well, not worst case scenario for Beckner, but it's considering where he was if this race went green, I'm sure he's going to be pretty upset, but I think Jeff Wright will take it, puts him in a great spot as well. Look at this restart again, Hunter.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Jeff Wright would be in a good spot. I think Weishart just had a very good jump, and I don't think Nichols was expecting that.
Let's ride and listen. Oh, so he made a mistake, downshifted instead of, or upshifted instead of downshifted. And just that one little bobble is all it took. Listen right here. Watch the tack.
upshifted before getting on the gas. It's almost like his reflexes failed him. It's like, no, we got to hit the gas. No, we got to shift. No, darn it.
Yeah, and it all happens quickly.
But I'm sure they got to be thankful they're still third and fifth and not crash. It could have been big. Beckner was heads up to not hit the 73 even harder, but I'm sure definitely upset about the track position where he has now. But it's not just him. John Furness has lost out. He's back to 7th. He was in the top 3. And Conor Okrezik was top 3 the first half of this race. He's all the way back to 9th. So this race has really flipped a little bit because now you got Wright, DeWeese, Matthew Bell. They're all up there.
I think also with the anticipation on these late race restarts, it's easy for people just to accelerate blindly and not lift. So everyone got pretty lucky, Connor, as you mentioned, that didn't stack it up. Hunter?
I'm just looking forward to this next restart because now Jeff Wright's going to be in a good spot, and he can go on the restart. Might put himself in a better spot than Weishart on 2 tires. Even Braxton DeWeese, the three of those guys in the top 4 are still looking for their first win on the season.
Yeah, so maybe about 16 laps to go, I think, when we get the restart. And we'll trim it down a little more. Quick look at the race stats so far in this one. 6 different leaders, 5 lead changes. We're on our 6th yellow. It doesn't feel like we've done 6, but we have done 6. 73, it recorded the fastest lap. And this is far from over. And laps led tonight on the left-hand side of your screen. Pretty even distribution relatively compared to what we can sometimes see on these 1.5 mile races.
David Weishart leading 18. Most of those were from going the long route, trying to one-stop under green earlier. Jeff Wright had some laps led from short pitting. And majority of others haven't even led laps. Zach Nichols led 2 there as well, but this is going to be an interesting restart. I think this is the right move for Weishart to pick the high side, but we saw someone do this. I don't remember who it was on Tuesday night. They picked the outside line, and then they let Sebastian Marin pretty much get to their inside. I think it might have been Eric Wineland. I don't fully remember, but the bottom gets you a big jump. But the top side, you can get a jump, but it's not going to be as big. But Weishart's strategy here is he's going to pinch the drivers who have been up at the front all race. He's going to kind of block them in. He's going to block Jake Nichols in. He's going to block Travis Beckner, John Furness, Okrezik in, and let the guys who he can probably battle harder with, like the 13, like the 43 and 11, he's going to give them the jump instead of the drivers who have been dominating this entire race.
Well, see the track temp cooling down now to 83 degrees. It's almost 6 o'clock in the sim, and well, that's anything but for the drivers cooling down. They're just heating up. They're just getting ready, Kyle, for the next 16 laps of potentially green flag racing. Could see another quick yellow like we saw on the last restart, but going to be the most intense one up to this point.
Yeah, potentially is the key word in that sentence. In the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, round number 9. After this, 3 rounds remain in the regular season. Drivers are considering their playoff pictures, their playoff hopes. Big picture racing for some, others just going to race to steal a win here or there. Weishart on the outside is the control car once again into the restart zone. Cleaner looking that time, but a nice jump from the 33.
That's exactly what he needed.
Bobble on the bottom there into turn 1. Beckner trying to go center 3 wide. That's going to be tough math. He's really loose on the bottom of the track.
All sorts of people bouncing off each other down the back straightaway, where Jeff Wright is going to be the first one in line to try to get David Weishart here, but he's not quite close enough to make that move. He's going to run to the outside, let Nichols get to his inside.
Oh, center Connor.
And Ryan Hartz. Hartz is going for a wild ride through the grass. I don't know if he's even lifted. I think finally he has kept it straight, but all that track position is going to be lost as Jeff Wright goes for the lead.
My computer can't handle this because it's so intense. As Jeff Wright's looking for the lead. He's sideways off of 2.
It's not just me. That's good.
David Weishart, Jeff Wright into turn 3. What a battle here for the top spot. Weishart on 2 tires trying to run from the drivers in 4.
Got another run right here, but Weishart's going to force him low again. He is not going to let the 48 get the right rear unless the 48 blinks out. I'm shocked he's giving the 48 the top side. If Wright can get a big enough run here, he could have a slide job attempt into 30. As DeWeese is up in the 3rd, past Jake Nichols. Huge pass there as the 33 put a little bit of a block on.
Everything's in the maximum overdrive for everyone's internet. Connor's internet, my internet, the 48's internet. And the fight for the lead still continues. Jeff Wright going to power through on the inside. He'll clear Weishart for the lead with 13 to go.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese is here, though. I mentioned that 13. He was in prime position to be a factor in this race. He's going to drive to the bottom and at least for a moment get some cleaner on that nose. But the 48's got the outside groove. And here's Beckner in the 27. Where'd he come from?
Saw someone hood fly and then got back on him, but this has really flipped the race with two drivers looking for their first career area series victories in any area series. But here comes Beckner back to third, hit the apron there, got pinched by DeWeese. He has two tough passes to make here if he wants to win. Here comes DeWeese to the apron, trying to get a run on the 48 of Jeff Wright, looking for Central United Motorsports' fourth win of the season, but he's looking for his first for this team in the 48.
He's looking to continue as Nichols is going to fight for third with the 27 of Beckner for the time being. Braxton DeWeese a car length behind as Beckner looking to rally back on the outside lane.
Look at the 27 commit way, way big. He's going to be flying out of turn 4 with the run he's going to build. But honestly, the 73 got a nice, the 28 through the grass.
And he has not lifted. He's going to get back on track. I don't know. I think he and Matthew Bell had contact there, but he only lost maybe 3 positions out of that. As here goes DeWeese for the race lead.
Sending it to the inside, but the outside lane will stay put for the time being. Wright's going to hold on to the lead. Beckner clear of Nichols for third, as that was the battle for fifth between Bell and Furness, where they collided on the front stretch, but DeWeese sitting in a good spot, but here comes Beckner on his bumper.
Yeah, Beckner is not to be denied. Every finish that he has had that was not a win was outside the top 20. He doesn't even know what a third feels like this year. And I don't think he wants to start. Something tells me that he's proud of that. Checkers a record stat. But I think he'd rather have it be the other way around, where he's got, 6 wins and 3 DNFs versus what he's got right now.
And he is going to have to fight really hard to get by DeWeese. The 13 is not an easy pass. We remember their battle at Darlington.
Yep.
It was really tough to do as well. And DeWeese is not, it's not like Jeff Wright's getting away quite yet. DeWeese is staying with him, but Jeff Wright, he's kind of just running in the 48's dirty air, and I'm not sure how well that's going to work for him.
You bring up a great point, because that Darlington battle was the other way around. It was DeWeese on Beckner. So if you're DeWeese and you've got a long memory, Hunter, you're not going to let him have this easily.
No, all bets are off, especially in the closing stages. If his only move can be made on the last lap, then so be it. Contact will be made, bumpers will be used, but for the time being, still trying to set yourself up for that position, as there's the 42 of Brody Falliker still duking it out with Senesac in the 09.
13's moving up the racetrack, trying to find some grip elsewhere here. Be a little bit worried. I think what he was doing was working, so he's trying to find something else. I worry that he doesn't have a lot of room to experiment, Connor. He's got to kind of stick with what he knows is going to be fast, with how fierce this top 5 battle is going to be in the final 7 laps of this race.
And he has a little bit of time to maneuver around a little bit. He actually had a good run out of turn 4 using a little bit of a middle entry to a low exit, but he's going to go back to the dirty air of Jeff Wright, trying to get him loosened up a little bit. But they have pulled away from Beckner and the 73 a little bit, so if he wants to search around, search for grip elsewhere, he has at least a lap or 2 to try that, but he's going to get back in line, do what he's doing. Jeff Wright actually moved a little bit up the track into turn 3 to take that air away, as Beckner really sliding out of turn number 4, trying to catch back up to those top 2.
Trying to get as much momentum as he can, find grip anywhere, clean air anywhere. 13's going to go to the outside, 48 to the inside. Beckner trying to find some air in the middle, and Nichols going to look underneath for third, but not going to have enough.
This is DeWeese's best friend is Jake Nichols, because as long as he hounds the 27, Beckner's not going to be able to stitch a couple of laps together to run down the 13. But as soon as Beckner can rid himself of the 73, he can focus back forward. But they're running out of time. 5 laps to go, and you got to start getting creative now. Here comes DeWeese with a run on the front straight.
And he is getting solid runs. It's just not enough to get to the inside or outside of Jeff Wright. This time he's going to dive to the inside, but Jeff Wright, I think, is completely fine with letting him go to the inside. But DeWeese had a great run out of turn number 2. He didn't really lose a lot. He's right on the left rear. They might have made contact, and he has the inside in the turn number 3. He's going to dive hard. We might see contact in turn number 4, and Beckner might be where he wants to be.
Side by side for the lead off of 4. Wright powering on the outside, and The 13 of DeWeese strong on the inside. Beckner's trying to steer clear, but Nichols is alongside him as well. Contact almost being made, side by side for the lead, for third, and for fifth on this race.
What a great battle. This is why you love Chicagoland. DeWeese trying to stick tough here on the bottom. It's going to be harder now. He didn't get as good of a run. If he can keep the overlap, though, he'll keep this dream alive. Almost still overlap into turn 3. He's just trying to get to the bottom, and he will again.
And he kind of forced Jeff Wright offline, not where he wanted the run, so he's going to have another good run out of turn number 4. This is bringing Beckner and the 73 back into this. 3 laps to go. DeWeese might have led that lap. It is so tight. Does he try a slider this time? I think he did, but Jeff Wright covered it. He's going to slide up the racetrack. They were going to make contact. Watch the run Travis Beckner gets out of turn 2.
Travis Beckner, Jake Nichols closing in. About to be a 4-car battle for the lead with less than 3 to go. DeWeese to the inside, right to the outside. Nichols even higher. Beckner even closer.
It's now or never for the 13. He's got to clear this 48, and now, because the 27 and 73 are here. 2 laps to go. 3 miles left at Chicagoland.
I think he's losing too much ground. He might have to try something different, maybe get back in line. Jeff Wright's going to cover him off if he needs to. And I don't think the 73 can do much on the bottom, but Beckner could get to the inside of Braxton DeWeese here, but that would be what Jeff Wright wants. He would want side-by-side for second right now.
It's only side-by-side for third. Nichols now going to send it, looking for second. DeWeese going to have to send it in to keep the 73 behind. Travis Beckner trying to get through, but Jeff Wright has 1 more lap till he's in victory lane. White flag from Chicagoland.
1.5 left here, Connor, down to turn 1. DeWeese is closing in, but he's not quite there yet.
And Jeff Wright, he's going to try to fend the dirty air on the 13's nose. They're going to be 3 wide for second almost. Jeff Wright played the air perfectly there. I think DeWeese is too far back to really have any look into turn 3.
Down the backstretch into turn 3. DeWeese was fighting for the lead. Now it's a fight to hang on to second. They're colliding in turn 3. Nichols is going to slide up the racetrack. He's going to save it in the fence. Jeff Wright out of turn 4. Checkered flag for the 48. He's going to win at Chicagoland. DeWeese and Beckner get to the line. P2, P3. Nichols salvages well, he drops to 7th actually in the chaos of the end. Furness, Groner, the rest of the top 5.
That was wild. Absolutely wild finish. What a drive from Jeff Wright. DeWeese tried everything he could and just couldn't get there in time, but that was an incredible battle to the end for sure.
Well, had a feeling before the broadcast started, had a feeling at the beginning as the 44 car will do his best shaving Gisbergen on the apron, but it's the 4th win of the season for Central United Motorsports, and it's the first of the season for Jeff Wright.
Did a lot right there in that final run. Wow, Chicagoland, man. It has put on some duds in the past, I won't lie. But boy, when it goes right, is it a joy. Let's go back and watch that battle into 3 with these guys here. And this is, DeWeese at this point knows the race for the win is over. And it's really just becomes a battle for second. He had to defend that there, and there was just so many cars in too tight of a space there. And Nichols he did a nice job. Got a boot there from the 43. And Scioli stuck in there for an 8th.
Yeah, Jake Nichols definitely got the short end of a stick. It's like Beckner was trying to get to the inside of DeWeese, but DeWeese was kind of committed to the middle, and Nichols was already on the inside of the 27, so there was just no room given for 3 wide there. The 73 got onto the short end of a stick. Jeff Wright, first victory. He's in the playoffs just like that if he can hold top 20. Braxton DeWeese, consistency once again for him. Beckner's first top 20, that wasn't a win. I think he'll take that, but probably upset about not getting the race victory. But Braxton DeWeese has got to be kicking himself a little bit there. And some surprise top 5s there as well. Furness got 4th. Philip Groner, we didn't talk about him all race, but he got 5th.
Occasionally, he was able to scoot himself into 5th, just navigate his way through the chaos there at the very end. Okrezik still rallies for 6th. Solid finish for him. Nichols fell back to 7th after that contact on the outside wall, and tomfoolery in 3 and 4 on the final lap. Skylerly 8th. And a Sogag with a solid 9th, and Matthew Bell, another good top 10 for him.
Zach Nichols had a pole, but he had to drop to the tail because of an EOL. He'll salvage an 11th. David Weishart, a P12 tonight, respectable finish, although the strategy didn't quite play out the way he was hoping. Shane Therian, Cedric Hunter, Brody Falliker, those 2 made it back after some crashes earlier in the night. You start to get down beyond Alex Weaver, and this is where things start to really come unraveled for some drivers. A lot of DNFs and crash damage tonight, Connor, from some big notables. And Jeremy Miller, got to give him credit for being 11 laps down, 23rd. That's a not bad finish considering his night and how it started.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure. It just shows how much attrition rate we had. Over a dozen cars, or close to a dozen cars out of the race, and he was able to be 11 laps down in 23rd. It's pretty important for him to stay in the title fight. But there's some guys down the order who didn't really get a chance to race. Ryan Swan didn't start the race, but Slaughter and Grant had their incident. Blaze McKinney crashed early. Justin Munsell was out in that lap 2 crash as well, and Cameron Hearn, the one that broke up our green flag running, he was involved in that one, turned by the 51, but a really, really wild race with a satisfying finish.
Well, let's talk to the drivers that made it all happen, and finishing for the first time tonight. This is the first time that we've talked to Travis Beckner where he hasn't won a race, because it has been, as we've been putting it tonight, checkers or wreckers for you, Travis. And boy, it has been an interesting year for you. If you didn't win the race, you were outside the top 20 tonight. A P3. Are we happy with it?
Finally. Instead of wrecking, I got a good finish instead of first in wrecking. So I'm happy. I'm excited for Jeff. 2-year anniversary for Central United. Ran the throwback paint schemes for him this week. Those guys are awesome. Like, honestly, out of all the teams I've been on, they have been the most welcoming for me. And yeah, they're just amazing guys. They especially Casey Lakatis. Like, I'm so excited that we got our 4th win of the season for Central United. Yeah, just Jeff did an amazing job right there getting by Weishart. And yeah, just awesome job to Jeff. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, it's like Kyle Busch at RCR, thrilled to finish 3rd. This is new for me, but Travis, P3, great points night. I mean, really, you look at the season, you've got enough wins to really seed yourself pretty high, but it's just about padding the cut line. So I think the job and was well accomplished tonight, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to apologize to Jake Nichols right there in the 3. I just got so narrow tunnel vision, and I just completely forgot he was down there, and just a mistake on my end. And if you're listening to this, Jake, I am really, really sorry. I'll come apologize to you after this. But I am very, very excited for Jeff. I see my dad in the background right now. Hi, Dad. And yeah, the sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Central Mobile Home Sheds, all the guys at Central United, they are amazing. Everybody at Low Dollar Racing and SRP, and yeah, just y'all take a time out of your day to come broadcast this. My grandparents, everybody that watched it. That was a fun race tonight. I had a lot of fun. Even though I didn't win, I think I would have won if we didn't have that caution with, I think it was like 30 to go.
Yeah, just about.
So, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you again, guys.
Thanks, Travis. Great night, P3.
Thank you.
And Jeff Wright brings it home in victory lane. Man, what a race at the end. Just a little bit of everything tonight. Holding off Braxton there, Travis, the 73 of Jake Nichols. You had to place your car everywhere on the racetrack. Drive perfect in the last 20 laps after that restart. Take us through your emotions and that battle here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, what a battle, man. But, there's just so much talent in this league. And so to hold off anybody there in the closing laps, that's just a tall task. And couldn't have done it without the help of the spotter and crew tonight, Reggie Ortega, helping us picking the lanes and giving us all the information that we needed to try and stay out front. And even still, that was, that was close. So Deweese almost got underneath me and almost cleared me. But man, just so happy to get this win here. Kyle, I feel like it's been an eternity since I've talked to you, so it's cool to get to talk to you again. And, super excited to get Central United another victory. Obviously, Travis is having just a killer year, but to be able to add to that and get us in the win column again on our 2-year team anniversary. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right. It is good to hear from you again. And sometimes people ask, what you want to interview more people. It's like, well, you got to keep it a little special, right? And every once in a while, and you get up here and chat with us post race, it almost always means that you've had a really good day. And this was a really good day, Jeff. But just those last restarts there. I mean, the chaos, the 33 on 2 tires, picking different lanes. How do you navigate the restarts here at Chicagoland when you've got drivers attacking from behind and one out front that has got a little less tire than everybody else?
Yeah, well, we knew that the 33 there was, on the 2 tires, and having the opportunity to start on that front row, you got to capitalize. And so we were just pushing as hard as we absolutely could to try and get the lead, because I felt like if we could get it, we had a good shot at trying to hold these guys off. The dirty air, obviously we always talk about that in the B car, and it's just such an advantage to be the leader. It's just, this league and this series is just so stacked that it's hard to get the lead here. So when you do, you got to make the most of it and try to hold them off. And thankfully, we're able to do that just tonight.
Jeff Wright wins at Chicagoland. Congratulations. Enjoy this one. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And Braxton Deweese is going to join us now. Second place tonight, Braxton. I know that you would have rather have won this one. It was so tantalizingly close there in the closing stages. What more could you have done there with Travis and Jake barking up the tree trunk there?
Oh no, I'd like to go back and look at it and try to give like an actual answer, but just be a little bit better, just thinking about it right off the top of my head, it's definitely difficult there, just with not being many laps there, and it's kind of just like hammered down at that point. But still glad that we were able to put ourselves in the position that we were in. Big shout out to David for picking the outside there. That definitely helped. So, like I said, just glad we were able to put ourselves in that position and ultimately come home second. And like you said, probably a little upset, but that's okay. I came in here not even thinking I'd be running up here and having the runs that I've had so far this year. So I'm definitely glad with the pace that we had, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying to keeping it up and hopefully keeping the momentum rolling to the playoffs.
You bring up a good point. Your finishes this season have been, let's see, you've had 11th, a 7th, a 6th, a 12th, a 6th, a 2nd, a 12th, and a 2nd. So pretty consistent all around. And when we get to the playoffs, that consistency is going to matter. But I know there's the pressure for the race win. So, it seems like at times, I mean, you threw some really big moves there to try to get by Jeff, but are you making decisions consciously to not put yourself in a compromising position and just make sure that you're grabbing the points because it's working out for you so far?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely don't want to be up there and be in a good position and then throw it away, trying to overdrive the car and trying to get something better. So, like you said, I definitely threw it in there a couple times. I wanted to try to see if I could throw it in there on the bottom and just get clear, try to come up a little bit. But the one time that I thought I was going to be able to do it, he ran the middle and I was like, oh, buddy, I had to get on the brakes a little bit. I'm glad we didn't hit or make any contact or anything. But, it was a pretty fun battle. I was talking to myself and talk to the stream, I guess I could say, and saying, I want to check up here and get behind him. I'm definitely going to get past on the outside from Travis or Jake there. So I wanted to do that. I kind of realized at that point, once they got there, that I kind of just had to maintain what I had because, they're some pretty fast guys and, they're definitely probably at different, better tire difference than I was there. So I just wanted to, bring it home with a second. We'll take it.
P2 for Braxton Deweese. Congratulations, Ben. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'd like to give a couple thanks to a couple of my sponsors, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Big shout out to Interstate Ford on the car, as well as Allen's Arts Images, Bennett's Publical, James on Main, Deweese Renovations, Brew 34 Diecast, and Rabbit Photography, Blaze Designs, Blaze McKinney, making a car. Hopefully he's going to have some better runs. But, we all go through some rough stretches, and we'll have some good stretches as well. So hopefully that's coming up within the next race or two for him. So big shout out to him, as well as Evan Pineda Designs. He's another designer of mine, and Bully Dog Coffee Company. You can use Brax5 for 10% off there. And I appreciate you letting me thank the sponsors, and just glad to be able to talk to you guys.
Thanks, Braxton. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good one as well.
Thanks. All right, guys. Wow. What a night. What a race. We had a four-way battle all the way to the checkers. Connor, final thoughts here on Chicagoland. We know we like this place. As I said, it can put on a dud here and there, but tonight was anything but. We had a bunch of really nasty wrecks this evening, but it ended in a pretty spectacular way.
We're talking about how similar this could be to some playoff tracks. Well, Kansas is kind of like that. Usually, Kansas is a track with big crashes and crazy racing, but we kind of saw that tonight. So the drivers that prevailed at the end of this race, like Jeff Wright, Braxton DeWeese, who got to the front when it mattered, that could be huge when we go to Kansas at the end of round number 2, I believe. So, and obviously Atlanta, some similarities there, but it should really be interesting to see how this plays out. That playoff cut line's getting really, really wild. The whole playoff grid just shifted a little bit with Jeff Wright with a little bit of an upset tonight.
Really kind of wouldn't say it was an upset. I mean, he's been solid all year, but just missed the last race, and he goes from being the biggest loser in points to being the biggest winner in points. And mentioned that it could happen where we could see a guy propel himself inside the top 20 with a win. Jeff Wright did just that. He lost, 7 or 8 spots last week after missing Montreal, but he came back, and he came back with vengeance, Kyle. He got a win. Now he needs to stay inside the top 20 in points, and it'll be locked in. Travis Beckner, although he didn't get the win, he still got 3rd. Much needed points for him as well, up 5 positions there. And it's going to be crucial because we're heading back to the Rock, at least for the Pro Series and the Truck Series. Cup will be going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Should be a fun time nonetheless.
From the 3rd largest city in the United States to the rural Carolinas, we're headed to the Rock. And we'll see you there next week. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Connor Horn bringing to the action here as always on SimTV. What a fun week here at Chicago, and looking forward to what the rest of the weeks have in store before we hit the playoffs here in a little while. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and follow on the twitch.tv/area iRacing channel, or if you're here on SimTV. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Kyle Heyer signing off.